I'm done. Starting today, the old me is gone, hey, and someone new is taking her place.
I'm done. Starting today, the old me is gone, and someone new is taking her place.
She said the words out loud, but her eyes were full of tears. She couldn't bring herself to look straight at the mirror. Her face was turned just slightly to the side. Deep in a back alley off 125th Street in Harlem, New York, a jazz bar called Blue Note, hanging on with two burned-out bulbs in its sign. That cramped, worn-down stage was Sharon's entire world. Sharon was a black woman, 33 years old, average height, full-figured, always a little wrinkled in her clothes. To anyone passing by, she looked like someone who didn't quite belong in the glittering bustle of Manhattan, at least at first glance. But the moment Sharon stepped up to that microphone, everything changed. When her lips parted and the first note came out, glasses stopped mid-air, conversations died, and even the sound of breathing seemed to disappear. Over in the VIP corner, the same seat every single time, there was a man who always sat there. Jun Hyuk, 46 years old, black suit, not a hair out of place, the kind of face where no expression ever stayed for long. He'd come over from Korea and quietly taken hold of New York's underworld from Koreatown all the way up to Midtown Manhattan. One phone call from him and people moved. One look from him and a room went silent. And yet, on the nights Jun Hyuk came to Blue Note, he did exactly one thing. He held a glass of bourbon and he listened to Sharon sing. The hand bringing the glass to his lips, it always stopped. Every single time, Sharon climbed into her high notes. One of his sharper guys noticed it once and made the mistake of asking about it. One look from Jun Hyuk, and that was the last time the question ever came up.
This voice, it reaches something inside me.
That famously cold heart of his somehow, only in front of Sharon's voice, it loosened just a little. The trouble started after the show that night. Ray, the bar owner, called Sharon into his office. He leaned back in his chair, looked up at the ceiling for a moment, and started talking. The old floorboards creaked 1, 2, 3 times. Sharon, look. The crowd these days, they want something a little more, you know.
No, I don't know. Say it.
They want someone more marketable. It's business, you understand? Marketable. Sharon understood exactly what that word meant the second it left his mouth. 7 years on this stage. And in the end, it came down to one word.
What about my voice? Where does my voice fit into any of this?
Sharon didn't say a word. She just stood up, picked up her bag, and closed the door behind her quietly. Very quietly. That night, in Sharon's studio apartment in the Bronx, one side of the fluorescent light was flickering. Her best friend Mina came bursting through the door with a bag of chicken wings. Mina ran a nail salon in Koreatown. She talked fast, had no read on the room, but her heart was quicker than anyone's.
Wait, Ray actually fired you? I swear tomorrow I'm going down there and I'm gonna.
Mina, I'm okay.
You are not okay. Do you know what that voice of yours is worth?
Sharon pulled a chicken wing from the bag and took a bite, chewed slowly, then looked in the mirror, at her own face under the flickering fluorescent light.
Just once. If I could just really show them just once.
That was the night a decision was made. While the chicken wings went cold, something inside Sharon was heating up. 6 months is enough time to change a person, at least on the outside. For those 6 months, Sharon ran through Central Park before sunrise every morning. She survived on chicken breast and sweet potatoes, and spent hours at Mina's nail salon, getting her hair done and picking out clothes. Mina always chose things a size too small, but Sharon wore them anyway without complaint.
See? It fits perfectly now.
I mean, I can't really breathe, but...
Breathing is overrated when you look this good. Okay, new name too? From today, you're Sophia.
Sophia. I'm Sophia.
The woman in the mirror felt like a stranger, clearly her own face, but somehow someone she'd never met. For a long time, Sharon couldn't tell whether what she felt was excitement or fear. Off 6th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, tucked behind a wall of black marble with a single gold sign, Lounge Bar Onyx, run by Jun Hyuk's organization. You needed a reservation to get in. a connection to get a reservation. And to have that connection, you had to know someone who, well, you get the idea. Sophia Sharon stood in front of it, application in hand. Her fingers trembled slightly. The heel of her shoe caught in a crack in the sidewalk.
You're fine. You're Sophia. Sophia doesn't shake.
Inside the audition room, 3 judges sat with their arms crossed. One of them looked Sharon up and down and gave a small nod. Go ahead. Give us one song. Sharon reached for the microphone, took one slow breath, and sang. 2 out of the 3 judges uncrossed their arms. The third one set down his pen. Nobody said anything. How soon can you start? Her first night on stage was a Friday. Fridays at Onyx were when the VIP crowd came out. When Sharon walked out onto the stage, the room buzzed quietly. A new face. But the moment the first note hit, the buzz stopped cold. Corner table? Same seat as always. Jun-hyuk was there. His hand reached for his bourbon glass and stopped. His eyes locked onto the woman on stage. His brow tightened. The look of a man desperately trying to place something.
This voice. I know this voice.
Cheolsu, sitting beside him, leaned in carefully.
Boss, you feeling that singer?
Jun-hyuk didn't answer. He just picked up his glass and didn't take his eyes off the stage. After that night, Cheolsu never asked again. After the show, backstage hallway, Sharon was reaching for her coat when she heard footsteps. Jun-hyuk, alone, standing under the fluorescent light of the corridor, his shadow stretched long behind him.
You were good up there.
Thank you.
Where'd you sing before this?
Sharon's heart dropped half a beat. Her fingers brushed the edge of her jacket just barely. Just for a second.
Here and there, different places.
Jun-hyuk studied her face for a moment. Not like he was expecting any particular answer. More like he was just checking something.
Your voice, I feel like I've heard it somewhere.
I get that a lot.
Sharon smiled. Sophia's smile. Jun-hyuk didn't push further. He turned to leave. But at the end of the hallway, just once he looked back. The days at Onyx kept adding up. The name Sophia was starting to feel more natural on Sharon, at least, when she looked in the mirror. Jun-hyuk came on Fridays. Then Saturdays, too. One week he even showed up on a Tuesday. Cheolsu really wanted to believe it was business, but Jun-hyuk never said a single word about work on those nights. Just nursed 2 bourbons and left. Eventually, Cheolsu gave up trying to explain it. Slowly, words started to grow between Jun-hyuk and Sharon. After shows, in the hallway, at a corner table over drinks. Short exchanges, but short words, stacked up. Hold more than long silences ever could.
You went up a key on the 3rd song tonight.
You noticed.
I always listen.
Sharon turned toward the window when she heard that. Manhattan's nighttime streets blazed below. She couldn't tell whether it was the lights getting in her eyes or tears. Then came a Thursday night. Onyx's weekly day off. Jun-hyuk was still there, alone. The staff had all gone home. Sharon had come back for sheet music she'd left behind and walked straight into the scene. Bar half lit, 1 glass of bourbon. And Jun-hyuk, he didn't look surprised to see her, just slowly turned his glass.
Forgot your sheet music?
How'd you know?
You always stick it in that drawer over there.
Sharon grabbed the sheet music. She was about to turn around when Jun-hyuk spoke. There was something slightly softer in his voice, the bourbon maybe.
There used to be a bar in Harlem called Blue Note.
Sharon's feet stopped.
There was a singer there. Her voice was not of this world. When you listened to her, you felt like you could finally put something down. Strange, right?
Jun-hyuk let out a quiet, dry laugh. For someone with a face that cold, it sounded far too lonely.
One day she just disappeared. No goodbye, nothing.
Sharon stood with her back to him. Her grip on the sheet music tightened. The paper crinkled slightly.
Jun-hyuk, that singer is right here. She's standing right in front of you.
That night, Sharon called Mina.
Mina, what do I do?
What do you mean, what do you do? Just keep being Sophia.
But he remembers me. He remembers Sharon.
Mina went quiet for a second. Through the phone, the sound of ramen bubbling on the stove.
How much does he remember?
My voice. He remembers my voice.
Girl, that's basically a confession. That mafia man has a thing for you.
That's not the point right now.
It absolutely is the point. Hold on, I need to pour myself a drink for this.
Sharon lay back with the phone still pressed to her ear and stared at the ceiling. Through the basement window of her Bronx apartment, the sound of people's footsteps passed overhead. New York kept moving completely unaware, as always. The following Friday night, Mina showed up at Onyx as a guest all dressed up, said she'd been set up with someone. As it turned out, that someone was Junhyuk's guy Cheolsu. The world has a funny way of fitting into one very narrow alley. The trouble started after Mina's third glass of soju.
Chelsea, isn't Sharon's voice just unreal? She's been gifted since day one. Back at Blue Note in Harlem, she used to.
Sharon's hand shot across the table and snatched the glass away. Pure reflex.
Mina, it's time for me to get on stage.
Already?
Cheolsu tilted his head. Junhyuk, from his corner seat, watched the whole thing without a word. His eyes narrowed. Sharon climbed up onto the stage, grabbed the mic, and made a decision. Tonight, she wasn't going to sing as Sophia. The voice that came out was the one from Blue Note. Raw, unfiltered, nothing held back, nothing dressed up. The air in the room shifted. Junhyuk's bourbon glass came down onto the table.
You still don't recognize this voice. It's me, it's Sharon.
She murmured it as she set down the mic after the last note faded. Not loud enough for the whole room, but Junhyuk heard it. That was enough. 6 months of hiding behind the name Sophia. And in the end, it wasn't the new look that moved Junhyuk. It was the voice Sharon was born with. The very thing she tried to conceal turned out to be the most radiant thing about her. And now Junhyuk knows the truth. The question is, which way will that cold, calculated heart of his fall? Stay with us. After that night, Junhyuk didn't show up at Onyx for 3 days. That scared Cheolsu more than anything. When the boss was angry, he didn't get loud, he got quiet. By the third morning, the door to Junhyuk's office stayed shut all day. The guys who went in came out white as sheets. Junhyuk stood at the window, looking out over the Manhattan skyline. The bourbon glass sat on his desk untouched. Next to it, a worn cocktail napkin, with the Blue Note logo on it.
I knew from the beginning. Was I pretending not to know, or did I really not see it?
He didn't have the answer. But there was one thing he knew for certain. He needed to hear that voice again. Sharon kept showing up to Onyx during those 3 days. Got on stage, sang, but pretending not to notice that corner seat sitting empty. That turned out to be a lot harder than she expected. Mina closed the nail salon early and came over. With chicken wings, naturally. Mina always showed up with chicken wings when something was wrong.
Has he reached out?
No,
He's probably furious.
obviously. I lied to him for 7 months.
Okay, but Sharon,
Yeah,
if he was really, truly furious, he wouldn't just go silent. He'd do something. He's in the mob.
Sharon stopped chewing. Mina wasn't wrong. Whether that thought made her more scared or more hopeful, she stared at the chicken wings for a long time without deciding. The fourth night, backstage hallway at Onyx, Sharon was pulling on her coat after the show when she heard footsteps. Junhyuk, black suit, no expression. Same as always, except his eyes were different. The eyes of someone holding something down very, very hard.
You can change your face, but you can't hide your voice. I knew it was you from day one.
Sharon looked up, met his eyes.
from day one.
First night on stage, the second that first note came out.
Then why did you?
Why did I pretend not to know?
Junhyuk put one hand against the wall. Their eyes stayed locked.
Because I wanted to hear you tell me yourself.
Tears started to fill Sharon's eyes. Her lips trembled, but she didn't look away.
I sang on that stage for 7 years. 7 years, and that stage was everything to me, but the whole time the world was looking at everything except my voice. So I wanted them to see me differently, just once.
The hallway was still. Somewhere down the corridor, the faint sound of jazz drifted out from Onyx. Junhyuk didn't say anything. He just looked at her for a long, quiet moment. The next day, things got messy. Word started spreading through the organization that the boss had gotten attached to a singer at Onyx, that the singer had been lying about who she was. Director Kong, second in the hierarchy, pulled Cheol-soo aside.
Who is this woman? The boss is losing his head over her.
I honestly don't know, sir.
Some foreign woman waltzes into our bar and gets her hooks into the boss. Did anyone run a background check?
Cheol-soo didn't answer. Director Kang's expression wasn't a good one. That evening, when Sharon arrived at Onyx for her shift, two of Director Kang's guys were standing at the entrance with their arms folded. No show tonight.
What are you talking about? It's Friday.
Orders from above. Sharon tightened her grip on her bag. She didn't step back. But these two men were twice her size. Sharon reached into her pocket, pulled out her phone, and sent Junhyuk a text. One line.
I'm out front.
3 minutes later, a reply from Junhyuk. 2 words.
Come in.
The door to Junhyuk's office swung open. Sharon walked in. Director Kang was on the couch. Cheol-soo was in the corner. Junhyuk stood in front of his desk. The air in the room was thick. Old leather and bourbon mixed together. Sharon didn't stop at the door. She walked all the way up to Junhyuk.
Boss, we need to find out how this woman even knew about our operation.
No, we don't.
But
I said we don't.
Director Kang shut his mouth. Junhyuk had a specific kind of look that meant say one more word, and it's your problem. This was that look. Junhyuk turned to Sharon.
Can you get on stage tonight?
Right now.
It's Friday.
Friday night at Onyx. The place was packed. VIP guests, crew members, and Mina, who was sitting next to Cheol-soo, working through a plate of chicken wings with absolutely no awareness of the tension in the room. The stage lights came up. Sharon stepped out. Not Sophia's sleek tailored dress, just the simple black outfit Sharon used to wear back at Blue Note. Hair unstyled. No performance of anything. Just Sharon. The room went quiet. Nobody recognized this version of her. Director Kang crossed his arms and made a sound low in his throat.
what is this?
Sharon wrapped her hand around the mic, closed her eyes, and sang. The second that first note left her lips, Director Kang's arms uncrossed. A guest who'd been slouched back in his seat straightened up. Mina set down her chicken wings, and Cheol-soo, without quite realizing it, felt his eyes start to sting. Junhyuk was in the same seat as always. Corner table. Bourbon glass in front of him. But tonight, he hadn't touched it. He watched Sharon. The Sharon who from Blue Note all the way to right now was finally, for the first time, hiding nothing, full-figured, unpolished, and in possession of a voice that existed nowhere else on this earth.
I should have known from the first time I heard her that I wanted this voice to be mine.
The song ended. The room held its breath for a second, maybe 3 seconds. Then the applause broke. Director Kang clapped too. He caught himself mid-clap, thought about stopping and kept going. Sharon stepped off the stage and stood in front of Junhyuk. Their eyes met.
I didn't do all of this because I wanted to be pretty. I just wanted someone to really see me, just once.
Junhyuk looked at her for a moment. Something moved across that hard face of his, like something was thawing, like something was giving way.
I saw you. From the very beginning.
Tears welled up in Sharon's eyes. This time, she didn't wipe them away. Junhyuk slowly reached out his hand. Sharon took it. Mina grabbed Cheol-soo's arm and let out a silent scream. Cheol-soo had no idea what was happening, but it seemed like something good. So he smiled along. Director Kang knocked back his bourbon, stared at the ceiling. He had nothing left to say. Sharon found herself, in the end. The name Sophia wasn't a bad thing. The weight she lost wasn't a bad thing. But neither of those was what she'd really been looking for. All she ever wanted was for the world to see her, truly see her, just once. That longing was what set everything in motion, right in the middle of New York City. And in the moment, Junhyuk's hand closed around hers. The jazz drifting out of Onyx sounded sweeter than it ever had before. What is it that this story is really trying to tell us? Every single one of us carries the desire to be truly seen, not the version of ourselves we present to the world, but the real thing underneath. Sharon didn't become Sophia because she wanted to be a liar. She became Sophia because the world had knocked her down so many times, with its measuring stick, that she started to believe the only way to be visible was to meet its standards. And yet, here's the irony. What actually moved the room wasn't Sophia's polished exterior. It was Sharon's voice. Raw and unguarded, it melted the heart of a man who hadn't felt anything in years and pulled applause out of someone who had his arms crossed tight. The thing we're most afraid to show the world is often the most real thing we have. And more often than not, it's exactly what the world has been waiting for. Sharon's story happened in New York, but anyone who has ever turned away from their own reflection knows what it feels like to have been Sharon, at least once. This story is a work of fiction,